Hey everyone, this is Lil already from Abstrakt Music Lab, and today we're back with our production series. We're just going to work on the mixing side of this track. You can see all the videos that I've done for this track here in the description and in the top right corner. Basically today, I'm just fixing one thing with the ARP. As you can see it over here, I changed a little bit of the ARP. It was just that the ARP that I had over there was just a bit too similar to what I had before, so this is how it was. And this is how I changed it. So it's the same idea, so I'm going to have to change it all there. So this is one thing that I have to do. And we're going to give a complete listen through the whole track, and we're going to start the mixing project today. So hang on tight because this is going to be a long session, probably split into two, but it's going to be really fun and really nice showing to you guys how I mix all my tracks and everything. As usual, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you loved it, subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel a lot. And if you have any questions regarding this mixing process, leave it here in the comment sections below. I feel that the main things that you're going to learn today is how do I mix, how do I process my mix, and also you can see that I use very minimal plugins mixing, and I do most of everything with EQ and level, and that's what is the main lesson of this video is going to be about, how to do this only with EQ and volume, and what is my thought process behind everything, how do I process everything. And if you want to support the channel, you can buy us a coffee, or you can buy our preset packs available here in the description below. There's a bunch of packs that we've done, also our own packs, and also packs for freshly squeezed as well. But let's get down to business and let's get started with this tutorial, and let's get listening to the song that we have right now. First thing that I'm going to do is just organize everything. I'm just going to rename everything that needs to be renamed. I don't like having these channels over here for mixing, so I'm just gonna get rid of the names. This is part of my workflow, so it's not necessarily something that you have to do over there. So if you want to see how I made this drop one, you can see it here in the description and in the top right corner. I have a link that will show you exactly how I made this drop one over there. If you're liking the vocal chops, you can see it here in the top right corner how I did these vocal chops, and also show in this video how I did the intros and the outros. It's pretty cool. And if you want to see how I did the break though, you just go to this video over here in the top right corner, which is a different segment of the track. And again, just really happy with everything, how it's going. I just feel that it needs a little bit more brightness in the overall sound. I'm not so happy with how these vocals, like, I don't want you to understand what the girl is singing. As for example, you can hear it. So I might just put a little bit more reverb and delay just to mush it out a little bit more. So as I told you, I need to redo the ARP. So this ARP is gonna be new. Just gonna put this over here. And now it's gonna sound like this. I did this drop 2 over here in the top right corner. I show you how I did the drop 2, and then if you go to a different video, you can see it also how I did these additional layers, this additional lead also over here. Going to the outro. That's basically it, right? Maybe this can go till here. There you go. So, okay, let's render the stems, and we're gonna bring this into a new project. So I'm gonna stop the recording over here, do this audio automation and all this changing from this project to a stem project, and we're gonna start a new mixing session over there. So in 1, 2, now we have everything that we wanted in our mixing project. We have all the stems from the tracks that we had in the other project over there, over here as stems. So you can see everything over here is a stem. And basically, there are two main reasons why I liked having everything in stems and why I like having it like this. The first reason is when I'm over there, I'm creating. When I'm here, I'm mixing. What does that mean? When I'm over there, I'm being creative. I'm just doing everything that I want and how I want it and everything and blah, 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 blah. However, when I'm mixing, I'm just making sure that what I've created now is conforming to how the market normally releases everything. So something that I've done in the creation project is something that I might have overdone it over there. So I have to dial it down. Often it happens that I end up with a not as high version in the mixing project as it was before, or a version with less bass over here than how it was before, because I might have overdone it in the past as well. But again, it's just one thing that it's just a different mindset, and that's one of the reasons why I like it. The second reason is here I don't have any VSTs and I don't have any samples. It's just stems. It's just audio. It's a complete restart of the song. It's a complete new perspective. I'm not going to deal with knobs and adjust the synth over here and sound that I know. Today, now it's only going to be making sure that this sounds appropriate to what I want it to be like. Okay? So again, how I always start my mixing is I always started with the master chain, adjusting the master chain over here. And you can see my master chain over here in the top right corner. Then I adjust the kick and the bass, and I mean the whole kick and bass. Then I adjust the drop elements, which means pianos and everything. Or instead of going from kick and bass to drop, I go from kick and bass to drum elements. Basically, the difference over here to drop elements is elements that mainly happen in the drop. You can see that some of the drop elements also happen in the break as well. and the break elements are elements that mainly happen in the break. But now let's start here with the master chain, just to have a quick overview of the master chain. Again, you can see it in the top right corner, as I mentioned before. Pro Q doing a low cut at 30 Hertz. You have this OTT just with 10%. You have this Pro Q also doing a high cut at 18,000. And then I barely change these. I normally just turn them on and off to see what I like the most. This is something that I never touch. It's always like this. What I touch here is I just want to see how much of compression is happening in this glue compressor. This is the same as Ableton's glue compressor. This is the same as Ableton's glue compression. However, the glue compressor from Ableton is a different DSP, as far as I understand from what Cytomic told me. And then I have my imager. I don't really touch my imager. It's always like this for all my tracks. And I have my mastering chain always as well. Everything is on from the beginning, because now, as I said before, I'm mixing. And since I'm mixing and I want to listen to this, how this is going to be in the end, I'm just making sure that now I have the complete overview and mastered and compressed version of the master and compressed version of what I'm working with. So that's why when I'm mixing and mastering, I have my master chain on. When I'm creating, I don't have my mastering chain on. Again, my starting point is the master chain, because over here, I just want to listen to it. Not this one. I want to listen to it, and I want to make sure that this glue compression over here is hitting 2 dB of compression. Something like this is enough. So that's my starting point. And then I have my reference tracks on top over here. And they have to be at the same loudness. This could be a bit louder, so I'm just gonna make it louder over here. Again, remember, it has to be at the same loudness, right? And Braxton's track is really loud, but that's why I'm putting it down a little bit. So if you listen now, this is important to me because this is the starting point for my mixing, because over here I'm listening that the kick is hitting over here and the sub is hitting over here, and then the second octave is hitting over here. You can see that this is a B and this is the second octave of the B, and this is the kick over here playing. So when I listen to my track, I have my kick hitting over here. Braxton's track was a little bit louder, so I'm just gonna raise it in 1 dB. What about the other tracks? Can you see how they vary? The loudness of the kick, it varies from track to track. You can see that the bass is sitting over here, the kick. Here's one of the basses, here's another bass over here, but technically this bass is at the sub is at the same loudness as the kick. So what I'm gonna do here to my sub is put it at the same loudness as my kick. This is a bit too loud comparing to my kick. Now if we listen to the kick, yeah, now it's at the same loudness. Oh, now actually, because before we didn't have any compressor, so it was playing freely. But now if we listen, you can see that sub and kick. Perfect, so it was at the right level. We have this second octave over here, which is really loud in our track. And when we listen to the references, It's kind of a quiet moment for the reference track, so I'm gonna make this a bit quieter. Probably gonna have to lower this as well, this region over here around 100. If we listen to the references, is at this level, ours is a bit too loud. This track over here is a good example that even though it has more frequencies over here, it's not the same kind of plucky bass, so it's not really a good reference. I'm gonna stick with all the other ones. Does it need to be exactly like the references? No, it doesn't. I'm just gonna try to take a little bit out of here. But I'm probably gonna give a little bit of boost over here because it kind of faded. And this is just by my perception. The second thing that I do over here is I use an EQ matching. So what is an EQ matching? EQ matching, you can see it over here in this video in the top right corner, how I use EQ matching. But basically what we're gonna do over here, we're gonna pick one track, the source curve, which will be my curve. And we're gonna pick in a specific moment of that track, which is gonna be the first drop of the 8-bar. The first 8-bar of the drop, we're gonna pick the last 8-bar of the drop. We're going to pick the first 8-bar of the drop 1 and understand how my track is shaped like. And then I'm going to compare it to the reference track. And then this target curve is going to give us an idea of what else can we do to have my track a little bit more sonically similar to the reference track. I'm not going to use this to take action. I'm going to use this to have it as a guide to me. So for example, let's capture my track over here. That's enough. Reference. It has a vocal, so we can compare the vocal part with something that didn't have a vocal. So I'm just going to capture again what doesn't have a vocal. So I capture what doesn't have a vocal, and this is how it looks like. So it feels like I need to raise this section over here. I need to lower a little bit of this section. It doesn't need that I will do this, but it's just an idea of what do I have to do to be more similar to the reference track. So now, for example, you can see that in the reference it has that really big shout that I don't want to have this in my track. So you can see that compared to this track, which is sonically a little bit closer to mine when you compare it to Braxton's as well, it says that I have to lower a bit more, which means that, well, maybe I need to be somewhere in between. But over here in the middle, it's saying that I'm fine. So if it's saying that I'm fine over here, maybe I'm more okay with this track. I'm just trying to understand where my track is sitting at comparing to other tracks. Maybe I have to boost a little bit more of that region over here. Maybe take something out over here. And maybe I have too much high end over here, which could be the hi-hats and everything. I'm going to compare it to a different track over here. So now it's saying that I need to boost the high end. So you can see that it varies from track to track. And again, it still has that notch that I need to do over here. But again, the most sonically like the closest sonically song that I have is Life on the Shore from Winwood and Hausman's remix. So I'm gonna use that mainly as an idea, and I'm gonna use Braxton's as another idea of how can I shape everything on my sound. Do I need to be exactly like them? No. However, when I talk about the high end, this high end over here seems much closer to me. The one from Santorini seems much closer to me than Life on the Shore. So I can pick, for example, this region from one track, this region from another track, and this region from another track. And that's what I'm going to do. You can see that the kick and the bass are okay here. What matters, the problem over here is that kind of mids. So what I'm just going to try to do over here is... I can hear that exactly that region over here, which is this over here. I can hear this, and it has a lot more in my track, so maybe I can dial it down a bit more less. And boost this a bit more. Do I want to keep it this way? That's another story, but I'm just trying to get it a little bit closer. I'm going to match it again to Braxton's track. So come back. I'm going to capture my track now again because I did some adjustments. The thing is, it's kind of lacking over there right now. So I'm not really comfortable with doing this. I'm probably going to dial it back a little bit, even though it's saying that I have too much, but I'm just feeling it's missing, you know? Reference again. If we compare it over here, now we have a little, like really close to a flat line over here, which means that we're sonically the same, but there's still some bass over here that we can push over there. So again, I'm just gonna maybe get this back a bit. Because I was actually missing that low end over there. Can I completely ignore the references? Yes, I can. This, again, is just a reference. It's just an idea of what I have to do. It's just something that I want to make sure that my tracks sound similar to, because I know that these tracks performed well in the market. So if they performed well, it means that they were well mixed. And that's how I use this. For now, I'm going to leave it like this. I might do referencing with other tracks, but I think that I like how it sounds at the moment. It has the weight in the low end, but at the same time, it's not the whole thing. So I feel that it's okay. I feel that we can move on to other sections. We're going to start listening to the high end at the moment. I'm not going to mess around too much with the melodic elements. I'm just going to mess around with what I have already, which is clap, hi-hats, and this is going to leave it for last, shakers. Okay, that's mainly what I want to play around with right now. I'm going to listen to the reference. I'm going to try to understand how loud the clap is, how loud the hi-hat is, how loud the shaker is. So listen to the tss, tss, tss. I'm only listening to this element over here. And this is what I'm going to compare in the reference. So we have a bit more body over here in this element. There's a bit more over here, but there's a bit less over here. So I'm going to just try to do something like this. That it's okay. Let me listen on my speakers, which again, it's always a plus listening on your speakers because you have to make sure that not only on your headphones it sounds well, but I also like to adjust it and listen on the speakers as well. So turning the speakers on. I like how it sounds right now. I like how it sits. So I feel that for now I'm going to leave it like this. Now I'm going to listen to the clap. Same idea. I'm going to listen to the clap and listen to the reference and see where they are positioned in the mix as well. So I feel that the clap could be a little bit louder. So you can see how now comparing one to another, it seems like the clap glues a bit more together with the song. Now the shaker. Let me compare it to another reference. I'm going to use other references as well. So with this gate over here, mainly what I did was to make sure that everything was being shortened. I don't want the clap to be that long, so if you listen to it, so I'm mainly shortening that part, just making sure that this part is a little bit smaller. But let's keep on going and let's listen to what we have now. So I had to raise this song a little bit because it was too quiet. And that's why I love using speakers, because sometimes headphones can fool you a little bit. And it's a pain because I have to keep monoing the volume of the microphone over here because of the recording. But let's keep on going. Now that I have this, I'm going to listen to if I have anything else. I don't have anything else over there. So since I've mixed this at this moment, this is kind of set in stone. I'm barely going to touch this afterwards. This is the initial steps of the mastering. I start with the kick, and now I'm going to go here into the melodic elements, which start here with a piano and then possibly with additional hi-hats as well. But the only new element over here is this piano and this piano melody as well. So that's what will be next. And I like doing these mixes one by one, step by step, because I go adjusting as the elements go appearing in the song. So let's keep on going. Can you listen how in Amur's track, the piano is a lot more low cutted? So what I'm going to do here is just low cut my piano a little bit as well. Now we have the guitar coming in. Same thing as we did before. We're going to try to mix this in along with everything else. We have these pads also coming in. And basically what we're going to try to do with them is, one, does it have too much low end to cover up the bass, which already has low end enough? So that's what I'm going to try to get rid of in these songs at the moment, right now. Over here, I also have the bongo coming in, which adds something else. And I also had this hi-hat additional that I'm having to mix in. But then I add this continuous hat, which adds a lot more to the high end. This, when I listen, it was a bit too loud, so I'm probably going to lower it a little bit. But let's keep on going here with the melodic elements, and then we go back here to the drums element. But you can see that I go step by step, 8 bar by 8 bar. Every 8 bar that I add something new, I'm trying to get that something new figure out in the mix, because once I do that for that section, that's probably going to be solved for all the other sections as well. Let's keep on going. What about the vocal? Should I adjust the vocal right now? Normally, I don't like adjusting the vocals in the middle of the instrumental part. If possible, I'd even delete everything that is happening. So everything that it's non-essential, I'm gonna not delete, but I'm gonna make it deactivated. So this is something that I'm okay with. Only these chops, I'm okay with doing this. But ambiances, they are part of the song. They're part of the ambience of the track, so I need them. But I wouldn't have these vocals at the moment, okay? But I have to mix in the ambiances as well. I have to mix in the impacts as well. And the process is the same. I'm just gonna listen to the reference tracks and try to understand, comparing my song to the reference, is my effects, is my ambience too loud or too quiet? If it's too loud, lower. If it's too quiet, higher. So let's keep on going. It's clear to me that my song has a bit more bass than other tracks, and that might be okay. Okay, I'm not rejecting the idea that it may be too much, but at the same time, it might be okay. If I'm talking about other songs and how I've mixed in the past, it's okay. Maybe comparing to this more melodic, it's a bit too much. But again, it depends on what you want. As you've seen, tracks differ from track to track. If you compare it, the first reference over here, for example, let me just put my headphones on so we can talk and listen at the same time. So if we listen over here, and if we listen to this track, has way more high end than this one. Based on this reference over here, I'm just gonna higher this 1 dB. Now I'm gonna do a reference over here of this last 8-bar loop over here comparing to other tracks, because I want to listen now how my track in the last stages of the drop compares to reference tracks in the last stages of the drop as well. So we have a lot more elements over here, as you can listen, right? can see that again, a difference what I have to do comparing this reference to the other reference. But again, it's saying here that I have maybe a bit too much over here, which is the guitar that I'm playing, and I'm fine. Maybe a bit too much over here, but let me compare it to the first reference again. And yeah, I feel that I'm fine here. Remember that we did a little bit of boosting in the high ends at some points. I do feel that this one is a bit brighter, and I like the brightness of this one comparing to this one over here. So I'm gonna try to boost the high end of elements that I feel that could be boosted, just because I want to have a little bit more of that presence in this region over here. I feel he has a little bit more around 1K. If we listen, that 1K is exactly this region over here. Okay, but again, can you see how a lot of my mixing process relies on understanding what he's doing and doing it myself over here? There's a plugin from SSL called Fresh Air, and basically that's what I'm trying to give. It's a little bit of fresh air in the sound. Maybe not here, but maybe in the tension string I can raise it a little bit. Can we see how this got a little bit closer, a little bit smaller? We're not going to get it perfectly, but it's just an idea, as I told you before. It's just a way to understand if I'm going the right way. Probably there's going to be a huge gap over here. Yeah, there's still that 5K that all the songs are asking me to... Not asking me, but showing me that I should boost. Just gonna do a test and see how it sounds like. One thing though, when I start doing this, I kind of start to feel that my bass is being a little bit swallowed by the mix. Let's listen here. Important things that I have to keep in my song, and that's what I'm doing, these little adjustments, just making everything in the song brighter, but at the same time, I don't want to make the bass disappear in the song. So that's why I boosted a little bit of the bass over here. And why haven't I touched the bass since then, you know? I've adjusted the bass already over here. And normally when I adjust it once, I'm normally gonna keep it until the end like this. I can do some adjustments here and there. I can do some adjustments here and there to the piano, but you can see that I'm not touching that low end anymore because I've already set this up how I wanted it to be. So once I set this up, that's normally how I'm gonna leave it until the end. And same thing for everything. You can see that everything that I've done so far this last 5 minutes is trying to boost the high end, trying to gain a little bit more over there. I felt that sometimes it could be too much, and at the same time, it could be just that the reference has a lot more elements than I do. And I'm never going to be able to push the frequencies as much as he is going because it's just different songs, you know. But maybe what I can do is, I haven't tried this over here. I can try boosting it over here. And try to gain from this region because this is mainly just noise, right? Let's see. Now reference. Let's pick this one over here. You can see that it's getting closer and closer. I don't want, and I'm never gonna get it 100% the same. But I feel that this is close enough because I have this piano over here, which is saying for me to lower it. The reference doesn't have that piano, so it's never going to be the same. I probably don't have any elements that they have, so it's never going to be the same. But at the same time, I'm getting closer and closer to this region over here. I'm okay with this region with that low end. Remember that we've already set this, and this is how it's going to be. Maybe if I go beyond in the drop here. Let me just... Now he added a new element over there, which is a lead, which comes a lot in the low end. And they also added a vocal, which is capturing a lot of this region over here. So I feel that, again, it just matches a bit better to here. To the elements that I have in my track and the elements that they have in their track. Same thing over here. So I feel that this is pretty close, to be honest. It's never going to be the same, but as I told you, it's getting better over here. Probably they have an element that I don't have over here. They have some ambient noises over there. And there's also that lead. You can see that here in the piano, it's saying that I'm okay, but probably there's some more melodic elements that we don't have it over there. And that's why when you compare it to Enamour's Undone, the reference is really close and really far away from each other. So far, let's do a recap over here. So I started with the kick, I started with the master, went down to the bass, adjusted the bass, and then I adjusted the initial elements of the percussion, making sure that comparing to the reference, everything was fine. And then I just adjusted all the other elements according to what I was listening and also what I was listening comparing to the references, okay? A lot of this will come to you with practice, but at the same time, a lot can come with you with the reference tracks. Now, also what I listened was that my track was a little bit too low-endy and not so high-endy. So that's why everything that I'm doing over here is making sure that I'm taking a little bit of the low end off and boosting the high end. And that's what I'm doing. That's the whole thought process behind these adjustments over here. Let's listen to what we have so far. And once we've done one drop, I think that's mainly the biggest part of the song. We still have one element, well, 3 elements that are new in the second drop, and they are going to make the second drop bigger and a bit more crowded. But we're going to have to deal with that somehow. And we're going to deal with that somehow. Can you see how he has a lot more kind of ambient noises that I don't have? My song is much drier than his song. Let's leave this for later. Let's go to not to the breakdown. Let's go to drop 2. Normally I like going to drops first. I mess around with drop 1, get everything going on drop 1 because it's the starting point of everything. Then I go to drop 2, which normally is the crowdest part of the song. And again, since it's the crowdest part of the song, I have to be more careful. But let's go and listen to drop 2 over here. As anything, the first thing that I'm going to do is listen to my song, listen to the reference, and compare both. You can see that it's a lot different, right, from one to another. And I'm going to listen to the reference as well and see how he drops. There's a lot more stuff going on over there. Okay, there's a lot more high end over there. Let's listen to this track, which again was closer to ours. Can you see how now the bass is a lot different? He doesn't have the high end in this section because he doesn't have high end elements over here, but possibly over here. Yeah, it starts becoming something completely different, so. That low end cut over here, that boost in the 5K that we were talking about before. I might need something over here since every song is doing this, but over here we're kind of fine. And again, it's just an idea. Let's go here and let's listen to ours. you know what? I'm gonna bring a new track that might be really useful, and it's also from Doko. So 1, 2, 3, and so I bought this track over here from Doko, and it might be a better reference for the drop 2, as it was an inspiration for the drop 2. Let's make sure that the loudness is fine, it's beat matched and everything. Yes, let's make sure that the loudness is beat matched.
On this journey.
Let's go to drop 2 of Journey. Yes, it has a lot of similar things, right? Yes, the ARP idea came from there. But he has a lot more over there. He has a lot less high end over here. But it seems a bit closer than other tracks. I might boost some regions. I feel that everything is okay. Maybe I can boost this over here a bit more. Or maybe this one. One element at a time. This starts to get a bit too crowded and a bit too much. This is possibly a bit too loud as well. So also just making sure that this new element and these new elements of the drop are mixed fine. There's just a lot of background noise over here, especially in this region, like a lot of background noise over there. Without it, let's compare this region. Let's go back to the drop 1. Let's compare this a little bit to how it was before. And now how it was. Yeah, gotta get a little bit closer, but still pretty much the same. But I like this idea. I like that this motivated me to boost the pads a lot more. And I actually like this a lot more as well. Before, just so you guys can listen, before it was like this. Just gonna go back, right? So you have the pads a lot more present in the mix, right? I'm gonna listen now on speakers again, so I'm gonna take my headphones out and I'm gonna start muting the microphone again. So one sec. So I feel that I had to lower this a little bit more. It was just a bit too prominent in the mix, not what I wanted. I'm not gonna do what Doko did because we already have similar ideas, but I'm not gonna do the same mixing as he did. I like the way it is. It's the same idea applied in a different matter. I like that the question and answer is still there. I like that the pads are a lot louder over here, so I'm probably even gonna boost this a bit more. This is way louder. I did a 4 dB adjustment here and a 4 dB adjustment there, so it's way louder than how it was before. Just gonna put it on how it was before. Now this is 9 dB. A lot more present in the mix. I'm gonna put it now so you guys can listen in the mix. And you guys can see that even though I'm not sounding exactly like the reference, I don't want to be exactly like the reference, but a lot of what the reference is doing is motivating me to do the same thing. So I'm gonna keep on going on drop 2 over here. Now, new section of drop 2. We're gonna go here into these percussive elements that come in. These are new. I also have a ride coming in the drop 2, which is this one. And I don't know if it's too loud or too quiet. I'm gonna listen to the reference as usual, and I'm gonna understand if it's loud or not. But let's listen and keep on going. Now these could be louder. These are way too quiet over here, so I'm just gonna boost it in 2 dB. Now I have this main lead over here. This becomes a major role in the song. This has a major role in the song, and I want other elements to open up space for this. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna bring neutrons. We have a new unmask tool, which is really good. You can grab it here in the description below. I'm going to put the unmask over here. I'm going to put this to the counter lead. Yes. It's really close to track spacer, but I like the interface over here. It has to go over those leads. Possibly this has too much low end, so I'm gonna do that cut. What I just did is, again, I want you to focus on the main lead when it comes. So I'm just gonna put that unmasking tool on the lead guitar and on the ARP as well. Let's listen. I also have these strings coming on. And I have to add them somehow. I'm just gonna make them... What I'm gonna do here, since I might do a different mixing for the drop and for the break, what I'm gonna just do is split them over here. And this section, I'm gonna just boost this high end. A couple things that I want you to notice are the following. Can you hear how the bass is always playing, always prominently? I still feel that maybe we can raise it in 1 dB because over here towards the end it kind of loses a little bit of power, but it might have been my ears as well. And I also feel that the bass, even though it gets a little bit less importance in the song, it's always there present, it's always there playing full and strong. So it always keeps on going, which is really cool. And we don't lose that presence and that power of the bass within the song. And that's what we want. We want something that is consistent, that every time that throughout the whole song, the listener is going to be able to feel the bass powerful enough and in their face and everything. So we did drop 1, we did drop 2. Let's give a quick recap of everything over here and let's listen. Here's one thing. Do I want my pad to be as prominent in the break as it was in the drop? And my answer is kind of no, but I want to have a little bit of what I had over there. So what I'm just gonna do is this scale knob over here, it basically just controls all the boosts that you did. 100% means that you are at 100% power of what you did. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put here and put this down to 50. So now it's gonna still be there, but not as prominent as before. Just a quick thing, basically over here I just raised it in 10 dB and lowered in 10 dB over there, so it's the same. I just want to have more headroom to play around with this. Where to place the bass in the break? Well, normally what I do is I listen to the bass in the drop and I just lower it in 3 dB. So I'm gonna listen to the sub in the drop, which plays again around over here, and I'm just gonna lower that in 3 dB. So I'm probably gonna put the bass over here in the break over here. Then we have the transition phase, which again starts a bit too abrupt because this pad kind of comes from nowhere. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add a utility, just making sure that this has a little bit of a ramp up. these are a bit too loud here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this as if it was a drop section, because it's part of what the drop is going to be like, right? I still feel that this element over here maybe has a bit too much mids. I'm just gonna lower this a little bit and see if it helps. Remember what I talked about, the kick maybe being too loud? I'm okay with this. I feel that now we just need to make it appear more in the mix. And probably what I'm gonna do is just boost this region over here. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come here to the master. In the master, I'm just going to do this. Well, I've already done it. It was because I was doing it with the microphone muted. But I'm just going to do this kind of a volume cut over here. I just want to intensify the boost of the drop. And same thing with the mono and stereo. I'm going to put this down to 36 and like this. So if you listen, it just makes the drop comes like hit a lot harder, you know? And I'm not doing anything to the drop itself. I'm just making what precedes it more mono and quieter as well. So just so you can listen in the intro as well. Now with it, it just hits a lot harder without doing anything, which is amazing, right? Let's listen on the stereo speakers because it's going to be way better to understand and feel if there is anything. But I feel that I'm gonna stop this session over here. I'm probably gonna keep on going, but not sure if I'm gonna do much more. I'm just feeling that this is enough. And if I do anything else more abruptly, I would definitely come here into a session. Well, one thing that we haven't touched actually are these impacts over here. These impacts are just the transition elements that we had. I'm just gonna make sure that a lot better now. We also have to make sure that the vocals come in nicely as well. We haven't touched this actually. For this, I'm gonna go into the stereo speaker, so I'm gonna leave it like this. I just want to make sure about these risers as well. This is sounding awesome. I'm loving it. Let's go into the vocals now. So vocals, last listen, and we're done. So I'm gonna go into the speakers now. So every time that I talk, I'm gonna have to unmute the mic. Thankfully, I have a Stream Deck, and I'm gonna do a video actually on the Stream Deck, just so you can see this is my Stream Deck. And every time I press this, the mic goes off. So it's really good because it helps me maintain control of everything. But let's go and listen to the vocals now. let's go for our final walkthrough. Let's go for our final playthrough. I still have to correct some things, maybe, but let's go for our final playthrough. And I honestly think that we're done with this mix, but let's listen. So, almost done. I just feel that this is a bit too loud, so I'm gonna lower this one over here. Just 1 dB. Everything else, it's fine. I just feel that, as I noted, I made some gestures. I feel that the pads has some bits that, like, they have some pops. You can see that it has like, you know, and I don't like this. I'm gonna go into the creation project and see what I can do over there to get rid of these pops. Or another way to get rid of this pops is actually just using a plugin from iZotope called RX, which is really good because there is like a declick over here, which I can possibly get rid of those clicks over there. It declicks everything, which is really good. If you've been here till now, I want you to take a few things from this mix. The main thing is, one, you don't need fancy plugins. You don't need a lot of stuff. Everything that I've done over here was with EQ and levels, and most of what I've done was with the stock EQs and everything. And honestly, I'm liking the result a lot. I'm already gonna send it to the label that I'm going to send this to, and I'm really happy with this. I hope you liked it as well. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you loved it, hit the subscribe. If you have any questions, put it here in the comment sections below. I'd love to answer them. I'd love to see what you think about them as well. And yeah, I hope you liked the video, and I hope to see you in the next Abstrakt video next week. Ciao.